Alright, so we are back with more Sacrarium Pario. I believe that is the name, title. I believe so. But I'm not entirely correct with that. Please, I guess, correct me on that. So, let's see. Make sure the camera is good. It's all good. That's the dresser. I'm tripping. Alright, so no one hauled me to a cold room to cut me open. Violo and Vivere left after our initial conversation and ordered me to rest for now. So part of me struggled with the idea of sleeping in such a dangerous location. Not like we had a choice. The exhaustion of my past 2 days won that struggle. I woke up the next morning feeling a bit better. No monster waited to drag me somewhere. At least an hour passed, but no sign of someone calling for me. I wasn't about to waste the opportunity to explore. The rules of this place were hardly defined. I needed to push limits to see what I could get away with. To my surprise, the door to my room didn't have a lock. It swung open into a cold hallway. Not cold, but old hallway. Much like my room, dust and overgrowth dominated the hall. Candles and magical lights gave me enough light to see by. No spells flared to life and attacked me when I crossed the threshold, which is always good. No monster came roaming down the hall to capture me. I hesitated. This level of freedom could be employed to trick me into misbehaving. The weight of the chains on me helped me realize what it actually was. I was neither a threat nor a flight risk. Hell, so I hadn't even been able to bathe properly because of the length of the chains. Bathing in chains meant scrubbing myself down while struggling to maintain my balance. I had no magic, limited mobility, no boat off the island. I was powerless against living gods. I didn't need to lock me in a room. I had nowhere else to go. The realization tasted bitter. My insides sharing my nervous energy. I'd been a child the last time I was this cornered. Ignoring the sick feeling in my stomach, I continued forward down the hallway. This negative air didn't budge beyond a mild increase in floral smells. With no way to determine direction, random chance was my only option. I moved with purpose. Instinct had me pre-checked any corners before rounding them. I fell into the shadows despite the effort being pointless. The architecture of the place reminded me of Cresseria. Cressia? Yeah, we'll go Cressia. In fact, Violo had muttered some words that sounded like Cress. His tratio lacked much of an accent, but those words were distinct enough, given the approximate time of his imprisonment. Not Crescent architecture, Crescent Imperium architecture. I felt a bit stupid examining door frames, but I needed to know for sure. Sure enough, I found Imperial brass nails. The way they turned purple and the humidity confirmed it. I only ever seen these nails in museum cargo that I had recovered from bandits. The way the history I stood inside of felt as heavy as hell. I drew in a nervous breath. It also didn't spell any good for me. Crescent Imperium became Cresseria after a coup against cruel tyrants. If he was from the Imperium of old, he was even more dangerous than I first thought. So part of me regretted returning out that babbling museum curator. He might have said something back then I could have used now. My investigation ended when heavy thuds began to echo down the hall. Everything was, it was heavy and slow. It had more than 2 legs. As it grew closer, I could hear multiple moaning exhales, off rhythm with one another. Fear forced me into a tight crevice, obscuring myself with the overgrowth. I held my breath and waited for the creature to pass. It was horrifying to look at. A mass of twisted and warped flesh ambled forward with eerie precision. No feet to be seen. Dozens of arms acted as legs. Elongated fingers and palms slapped against the floor. It paused near me. The 2 strongest looking arms hit the ground and held the creature's long, twisted body up. Fused torsos creaked with its motions. The independent segments rotated. The arms attached to them reaching out. They stretched unnaturally long and padded around. The heads seemed to be many heads fused together, leaving only the new noses and mouth. Black and yellow teeth chattered between breaths. Quick fingers brushed the overgrowth that separated it from me. I held my breath when some of the fingers began to poke around the area in front of me. Vines tangled around his hand, and it shook them off. The motion had the longest finger ended up less than an inch in front of my face. The creature paused completely. Then that hand surged forward and grabbed at me. Arms swung up to try and ward the creature off. Despite many of the arms looking thin, they battled away my attack and pulled me out of hiding. Its hands wrapped around my thrashing limbs with ease. The thing lifted me atop its back and began to walk with me. I waited to be devoured. I had nowhere else to look but at its ugly head. Mouth on it didn't look designed to tear flesh. The strength of its hands might allow it to rip me apart. It didn't. No, each motion while handling me remained firm yet careful. Something was up. I hung limp in the creature's grasp to conserve my energy. I needed it. The creature navigated space with expert precision. Even carrying my extra weight didn't make it stumble. I did my best to remember the path we took, nailing down things I could use as a reference point. We passed by more twisted creatures. Some were mostly human, two-legged with their faces wrapped beyond recognition. Those ones had no arms. They hobbled about, holding buckets in their mouths. Others were disguising themselves as displays of cobbled-together corpse. A few had no flesh at all, and were bones moved by metal threads. It was yet another reason why these two didn't lock my door. They had constant security. Eventually, we approached a dark door that opened without being touched. The creature turned and tossed me through it. I rolled with the fall and got up on my feet, only slightly stumbling due to my leg chains. I was in a library or a study of sorts. Books lined the wall, tables rested in various places, odd things and disgusting things rested on top of them. Like everywhere else in the castle, plants had begun to reclaim the space. Unlike everywhere else, blood and rotting items joined the clutter. Violo stood at one of the tables, polishing what appeared to be human ribs.
Hello!
Damn, I forgot my speaker was that loud. Hold on. Alright. He didn't bother to look back at me. Sorry to grab you, but you can't hear air elements right now with the chains. Can you your creations not talk? Originally they could. God knowing hearing them beg to die after a while. So, I removed that ability. I should have the casual cruelty. He spoke about it like it was something akin to changing curtains. You're tense. Don't tell me one of the creatures has you panicking. You're brown. Surely you've seen comparable sights. I flinched. How do you know who I am? I asked around. He set the ribs down and turned around. When he did, I saw a blood stain in his shirt. One of the crews rested on the table, cut into pieces. The yellow hair moved the muscles in his arms and legs, and the sight of them dangling from a rack made me want to puke.
Truly an intriguing situation.
I knew you were fascinating. I didn't know you were famous before this point. He wiped his hands on his dark pants. Sword. He held his hands out. Watched as the long sword grew small little black tendrils. He used those tendrils to move to him. Once landing in his palm, he threw it at me. I instinctively dodged away only to see it land in front of where I'd been standing. Charlie Brown, the band of the Toro Malign Ring, experienced mercenary with at least 12 years of credited work. You made quite the impression on one of my little roses. She remembers you with such passion. All I had to do was ask, and I received quite the story. If you did, you should know I prefer sharpshooting. I do. I find archery boring for obvious reasons. He waved a hand in front of his face. We have experience with the sword, at least bit. We have to sense you're a mercenary in the Yandere seas. After all, swords are the separator of the civilian and the professional. It indicates experience and money. I stared at the sword and bit back a sigh. He was right, swords were expensive. Trade Pacific tools. Most civilians who dabbled only use axes due to the added utility of having an axe. My own sword has cost me a pretty copper. I still mourn this loss. Forgive me for not calling you. Ring hubs are even more gruesome than my home. I refuse to accept that you can't stomach it. Not when you've seen worse. Just because I've seen worse doesn't mean I enjoy the sight. I suppose that's fair. Not everyone finds comfort in the same things. Most people don't find comfort in a mutilated corpse. He gave me a sharp grin and nodded in agreement. Then again, I'm not most people. Just into the body on the table. Anyways, don't worry. You won't end up like this. Quite yet. I'm uncertain if killing you will remove that unique ability of yours. Quite yet meant that it was on the table. So, not totally safe quite yet. I'm free to make you wish you were dead if you don't cooperate though. I might not expend the effort, so please don't wake me. Now, pick up that sword and fight me. He gave the hand. The chains that bound my wrists and ankles together faded into a flurry of flowers that drifted away. I immediately fixed my footing and reached inside myself. My energy had recovered. My third eye opened to its partial state, and I winced at the intensity of the figure before me. Power rolled off of him in waves, pulsing like a heartbeat. It was so overwhelming that my eyes closed against my will. I hadn't even been able to see the elementals attached to me. No coaxing elementals to help me when standing next to him then. I blinked a few times to get my bearings and saw where he waited. I don't like picking on people. Okay. He threw his head back and laughed. I assure you. He held his hands out, cutting his own palms open with his thumbnails. Black blood slid out and formed two blades. It's insane. One was a rapier, the other was a dagger. Rapier. Yeah. He held them both with practiced ease. My education was far superior to yours. You can't hurt me unless I let you. Now fight me. I need to see the limits of your endurance. His voice took on a manic edge. Usually wide-eyed were even wider, and I could see the tense energy throbbing inside of him. He gave me no indicator of what he intended to do. I gripped the sword and... resolve to do my best, or focus being defensive, let it crash to the floor. You can pick whichever option you want. I'm gonna do resolve to do my best, the last one. I didn't know what stakes were at hand, but I knew they were high enough to care. Even if I could play it safe, there might have been long-term consequences that I want. Not have them. Okay. Critter was known for his merciful mood and fast boredom. I couldn't risk not impressing him. It was terrifying to size him up, though. His stance told me nothing. I had no idea what he was going to do, and didn't know how well he could read my intentions either. Swordplay alone wouldn't help me stand out. I reached inside me and pulled at my energy. The energy flowed through me, sluggish as usual. Never had the fastest magical reaction time. Wondered if my void contributed to that problem. That was a thought for another time. For now, I hoped his books were fireproof. I darted to the right while mumbling the words to the spell. An arcane sigil glowed in the air to his left. I stretched forward to try and push him back into it. His rapier flew up and parried my sword. Before I could even think about what to do next, I felt his dagger rake across my throat. Stung like hell. No blood came rushing out, it only winded me a bit. 1 point for me. He gave me a cheeky grin. I scowled and hurried backward before finishing the spell. Single flare to life, erupting with flames. My manolines ache at the heavy expense, but I still had some reserves. I ducked away from the bright flames and light. I blinked at Violo stood in front of me, sword pressed against my ribcage. He hadn't even been singed.
Fantastic!
Oh, fire. My favorite element. What an impressive show. 2 points for me, and I know that your spellwork is very hard to detect. I didn't even know it was there for sure until I felt the heat. I gasped at the raw reaction time. If it was when he felt the heat, he had less than a second to move. How are your bones not dust? Well, they crack a lot, but healing abilities make up for that. He shrugged. Bone is one of the hardest materials to heal. It takes so much energy. That was why I stopped fighting in the front lines. Broken bone meant expensive healing bills and aches for me.
What?
I have to build it to be able to run. I have energy for that to be a concern. My hair on the back of my neck raised. I know there's such physical or magical limits. Even if my organs fail or my heart stops, our bones grind to dust. Work must always be done. His grin was happy as can be. Now, try me. We'll try again. Moved away from me to give me space again. Sat in stunned silence for a few moments. I defeated the powerful foes with patience time and time again. The powerful spells meant expending precious resources, so they always burn out. You only had to wait, but that wouldn't work here. My mind raced in the face of this challenge. In the end, I threw everything I had at him. Magical traps to try and snag him in motion. He tore through them with overwhelming strength. Blast of ice, fire, and more. He dodged out of the way. Increasing my own speed to the point where I felt my pinky crack. He matched it. A few times he played around with me, parrying my blows, and I finished the job until the very end. He hit me with an intention to lightly annoy, not harm. Bruises covered my thighs and side by the time the 12th bout began. I leaned on my feet, barely breathing, or barely breath. He didn't even look the slightest bit put out. How? Aren't you a researcher? The living God twisted his head at me. I'm from a long line of mages and duelists, my dear. When I say my education was thorough, I meant it. Fuck. Tried to raise the sword again. My main lines were empty and I had black spots in my vision. I balanced falter when I stepped forward. Ended up on my knees, wheezing.
Aww.
You tuckered yourself out. The blade slid back into his hands. He walked over and stroked a hand across my face gently. I felt his power pour into me. My aches and pain faded away a bit and pulled back before healing them completely. We're done. I promise. Apologies if you still feel sore. I don't risk overburdening your body like last time. It was a little sweet, almost like he worried about me.
Fantastic.
Excellent work. Once he actually wasn't being too loud, no, his voice was low, and my growing headache appreciated it. Well, I guess the last option was the best one to at least impress them, even if we can't beat them, obviously. His hand cupped my cheek, thumb idly stroking under my eye.
I made the right choice.
I knew that I wouldn't regret this. He sighed fondly. You are enchanting. If you were trying to be impressive, you succeeded. It's been a long time since a guest was this fun. You were above and beyond my expectations. He leaned in close to whisper. Continue this way, it'll be good for you. It can be quite nice when motivated. He patted my cheek. Bill looked ready to say something else, but he paused and pulled away from me. I watched his eyes rotate upwards. Cocked his head back and forth a few times like a confused dog.
What?
Now, she's probably starving though. Belle looked in my direction. I worked her over a bit. She nodded. Very well. Put your focus back on me again. The sunshine has sent for you. I tensed. Join him in the garden. He's promised to provide food for you. It's not poison, I promise. He doesn't hate you that much. Yet. The tender being comforting made me even more nervous. Where is this garden? I don't know, actually. I have no idea where anything is. As he spoke, he snapped his fingers. Items in the room began to move around. After all, even if I forget where a door is, the castle will just open the wall for me. He laughed a bit and shrugged. My wrist bumped into the tables when I constrained the tables to move out of my way. He tapped his foot while thinking. Let me get one of the 2 legs to walk you there. You don't have that privilege. Can you stand? I could, but it hurts like hell. Yes. Good. Let's not keep him waiting. To my dismay, the chains reformed once again. They were my connection to my mana lines. Made me feel even worse about the confrontation to come. Why did Vivere want with me? Or what did? He made his opinion of my presence very clear. It doesn't make no sense to me that he wanted me around. It would make even more sense if he wanted me far, far away. While twitching 2-legged aberration reluctantly. If I failed to show up, something would drag me there. And acting direct defiance might set him off. I didn't know what his limits were, and I didn't feel like pushing them yet. The 2-legged humanoid scampered much faster than me, despite its appearance. A few times to go around the corner before poking his head back around to blow out a loud exhale in my direction. Caught up with ease, maintaining enough distance to give me room to dodge if it lunged at me. He passed other creatures that ignored me. I ignored them right back, finding the urge to curl away from their bloated bodies. Without the plant, they seemed to be the only living things around. That perspective changed when I reached the garden courtyard. The place was overgrown with plants of all kinds. I watched tiny earth elemental golems totter around. Their heads were shaggy messes of vine and flowers. They were almost cute to watch, pulling at weeds and watering plants. The thing even more surprising was the presence of vultures. And with the test of the living gods with a burning passion, no fish swam in the blood waters due to this hatred. Despite that, these vultures sat, fairly comfortable, snacking on unidentifiable human parts. Vultures noticed me, but they paid me no mind. Their aberration let out a strangled noise of some kind, bouncing in place 3 times. Then it scurried away to continue what it was doing before. Hello? I called out. This garden had many dense and high bushes, making it impossible for me to spot Vivere. One of the roses rose from a bush. It was an earth golem, bigger and more mature than the little ones. The golem waved a leafy hand at me before hobbling towards me. Its vine hair reached out and tugged on my chains. Please don't pull. The golem listened and let the chains go. It walked with janky and human motions. With a pause to make sure I still followed, then turned its head over its shoulder. Noah rotated its entire spine at the hip to look behind it. Insane. In a way, the humanoid golem was as bad as the flesh creatures in the castle. It was human enough to be disturbing. The guards began to open up as we grew closer to the center. Vivere stood near a fountain, arranging flowers in the human skull. He spoke softly to someone I couldn't see. No, do not break his study windows. I'm upset, but... He cut himself off upon noticing me. The little guest has arrived. He looked at a wall of green plants. We will continue this conversation later, alright? He waited and then nodded. I will. Stay safe. Large fingers that I'd mistaken for vines curled up over the top and disappeared. The thing had to be massive, but it didn't make a single sound. Sorry to interrupt. It is the nature of guests to get in the way of work. I couldn't help myself. I raised a brow. Work arranging flowers? Yuri gave me a long, flat look. He raised his skull in his hands and I watched as his eyes glow. Vivere reached into his chest and disappeared inside himself, and he pulled out a faintly glowing light. He slid that light into one of the eye sockets of the skull. Flowers in the skull sprang to life, growing long roots and vines and began to form a humanoid body. Flowers overtook the skull, hiding it from view. A new little golem was born. He bobbled his head questioningly a few times. Very gently sat it on the ground and patted its head.
How cute.
There you are, little one. Rosenton High? Also, I mistook the voice at first. It's a little deeper, so. Yeah, ready for that. I looked at the older golem that still stood beside me, and it did not shake it side to side, even while standing still. Take this new little one and get him started on this task. He'll be in your plot. Golem nodded and walked over, picked up the little one and walked away. Very level his cold gaze at me once more. Our list of tasks grow even longer, because we need more helping hands. I've been very busy. How many elementals do you two control? Push came out before I could stop it. A few 100,000. These creations are not elementals though. What are they then? None of your business. Okay. With my tongue. If the other angels would work with beings like Violo and Vivere. Thus, if they weren't elemental, they had left only devils or something new entirely. He removed and sat down at a small table set up with food. Sit, eat. My love will be annoyed if you starved yourself. Picked up a porcelain teacup that looked almost comical in his big hands. I will force feed you if need be. Do not test my patience. Sat down at the table with a sigh, eyeing the food to determine what parts I felt safe eating.
Annoying.
There is no way in the hells you are picky as a mercenary. You're right, I'm not picky. They are poisoned. Yeah. All guests get at least 6 days as a grace period. Not the first one up here. No, Violo keeps anything of extreme value out of the dungeons. It's been a while since we had one. Doesn't that bother you? It does. He gave me a sharp grin. Luckily, his interest is ever fleeting. 6 days is usually how long it takes for him to grow bored. Took a sip of his tea. I clenched my fist under the table. The weight of that countdown had me tenser than expected. 6 days was hardly enough time to escape or try to curry enough favor to survive for longer. Stop staring and eat already. His hands with a teacup hovered above the plate. He narrowed his eyes at me. To avoid finding out how unpleasant it'd be to force feed, I picked a few things to eat. The tea was relaxing, not too strong in taste nor too weak. I really downed the cup. Pressed a flinch when the cup moved from the plate and the pot moved to refill it. Is everything here alive? Yes, it's a lot harder for Violo to lose something when he only has to call for it. Can't but the tables if they move out of the way, and so on. One of the things I touched and observed in detail will report my snooping back to the pair. A cup returned itself to me, and I drank more tea to calm down. It didn't help. Vivere's golden gaze pinned me to my seat, overwhelming and critical. He didn't say a word either. His silence made each clatter of cutlery like a cannon fire. I didn't say a word, but I matched his stare. There are 4 notes to catalog about you. Violo was too busy for such monotony.
The things I put up with.
I am going to take those notes. To begin, where and when did you receive your training? I had a mentorship from a young age. Got taken under a merc's wing after my parents died. Was this mercenary famous? No, never broke it to the big news. Powerful, perhaps. Standard Charlotte spells word. Good on land and seas. Nothing to write home about though. Very scowl. That was your only source of education? Yes. No teachers from a monastery. No secondary teachers. The only other teacher was experience. Your condition is not related to your education then. Do you think our mortal unlock some kind of spell? Very well could have been the case. That'd be insane. Harry gestured to himself. I am the product of mortal unlocking an unthinkable spell. I grimaced and took another sip of my food. No symptoms of familiar poisons kicked in. I forced myself to eat slowly to avoid getting sick. To your knowledge, is your family cursed? No, we were rather devout when I was younger. That changed. You only see so much of the world before it shakes your fate. I see. He leaned back in his chair.
Annoying.
Yeah. Annoyed that my condition is physical? Yes. Why? Take a wild guess. I thought about it. Don't make me choose. Don't make me choose. Tell me you're that easily jealous. Very much so. Violo is too. He just doesn't speak about it openly. I mentally noted that down. Well, I might as well see if you're entertaining. What? Tell me, what is love? I stared back at him. I failed to see the purpose of this. To see if you will be entertaining to me as well. I have to endure your presence in my home. You might as well entertain me. Now answer me. What is love? Question has a simple and a complicated answer. Weary let his cup go refill itself. When it settled back down, he put his sugar into it and stirred the mixture. He didn't break eye contact from me while doing so. I didn't need to see into his mind to know he was cataloging everything about my reply. I mean, I would answer to impress. I have my answer for that, but I'm gonna let the game do the talking. Yuri barely tolerated me. If I wanted to keep my head, I needed to change. I worried about pushing things too far, but fortune favored the bold. Love is either extremely fleeting or long-lasting. I've rarely seen something between these extremes. Sometimes love is a swindling night with a new face you'll never see again. At other times, it's a long-lasting bond that even time cannot erode. It is also a heavy source of agony for many people.
What?
Love is agonizing? Yes, unrequited love. Love ended too soon. Mutual love falling apart. Love is popular for poets and songwriters and storytellers for a reason. It's visceral. Visceral? Yeah. Other people bother with it then. It's kind of like a drug. When you're high, you're really high. When you're low, you're really low. Love withdrawal can even be more painful than love falling apart. It leads to inferiority and self-doubt. Everyone desires love then. I nodded. Even something like me. I sucked in a breath at the pointed question. It would be hypocritical to say otherwise. He raised a brow at me. You have one thing above most mortals. He raised his brow, turned into a questioning grin. Well, his raised brow turned to it, okay. You can confidently say that you were created out of love, so I wish that Violo adores you. Thus, I would say you understand love better than many humans despite your origins. I snorted at the last bit. Well, that has to be the politest way to say, someone has brought up my origins. Struggled a bit and took a sip of his tea. I took advantage of the pause. What is devotion? He paused with his cup near his mouth. Pupils dilated a bit and he tilted his head like a curious cat. Oh. He set the cup down and we sat in silence. Devotion is doing what must be done for people you love no matter what. Even if it hurts you. Nothing is truly painful if it is for someone else. Even if it hurts them. Sometimes they don't understand why it had to be done until later. Short-term pain is worth a long-term benefit then? In my experience, yes. Do you disagree? Not entirely, but I have my caveats. Let's hear them then. Conversation ebbed and flowed and then bouncing from abstract concept to abstract concept. Yuri allowed me to pause to eat, so I managed to enjoy the meal too. Tension in me began to fade. Yuri's engagement was positive, and for a moment I could forget who exactly it was I was talking to. And I had a little golem appear while we were lost in conversation. Those are the best conversations where you can't really tell the time. So honestly, that's the win. Appeared to be made of cat bones, clay, and cake daisies. Little creature popped up on the table with a rubbing purr. That's what's saying. Yuri didn't bat an eyelash and rubbed its bony head. Cat? One of Violo's. The only one we managed to bring with us. We weren't able to grab the souls of the others before our imprisonment, or any of his non-feline pets either. Pets, plural? Yuri let out a loving yet frustrated sigh. Yes, he had a small sanctuary in the graveyard at one point. He was devastated not knowing what happened to them. Did he keep vultures too? At the time, no. Once we got here, it came alongside ships. I thought Anna's hat. I cut myself off. It's like being in territory of living gods. Birds are an exception. They're children of freedom. That makes sense. They're pretty fat. Don't let Violo hear you say that. He worries you're too thin. Chuckle slipped out of me. Anyways, what is sorrow? We kept talking to the sound of someone skipping through the garden and interrupted us. Expect to see them emerge from the path, but Violo stepped out of a large bush and mixed flowers instead. And this seemed like a good time as any to stop for now, unfortunately. I am trying to find the time to finish this because I really am enjoying this visual novel. I do want to sit through one playthrough of this, but I haven't had the time to do that as of yet. I do have, unfortunately, a busy schedule, so it is taking my time away from these videos, which is why this is kind of like my, I guess, first official video of the week, since I had like a strike on my channel, but I peeled it and got it fixed. Just some links that YouTube doesn't like, but I'm gonna sort that and find a way to where I can give you all the content while also giving you all the link, and YouTube will not get mad at me. So please bear with me. My videos have not been like consistent as they usually are. I have been busy, unfortunately, so they will pick up in the near future. So stay tuned for that. But like I said, I am enjoying this visual novel. I am enjoying the experience, the visuals, the audio, them laughing and stuff. That's fine. I don't hate it nor love it. It's fine where it is. I do like all the detail that is in here. These are the credits, by the way. So I am enjoying the overall experience of this visual novel. If you feel the same sentiment and you want to play this for yourself, of course, everything will be in the description below with quality, good, clean links, of course. So, yeah, this is Sacrarium Pario. Hopefully I pronounced that right. If I did not, I do apologize. But with that being said, I'm not going to ramble on too long. I'll leave it here. So hopefully y'all had a good day, a good yesterday, and better tomorrow. And I will catch y'all in the next